Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video. This is something that we haven't really done in too long, but I wanted to do this. So what are you doing, Brian? What is it you're doing? So what I did was I went overhead on Instagram and pretty much created a poll asking if you guys have any questions for me. You know, I've already answered a few of the quicker ones that I could over on Instagram. What I wanted to do was actually cover some questions here on YouTube, some questions that you guys have with regards to business, working out, my daily routine, this YouTube channel, crypto investing. I think this will be fun. I've not done a video like this in a while, so I'm excited to make it. Let's start with this one from Ariel Osori Fitness. He says, trying to make it as an influencer. Any tips? I'm already very consistent. So I don't know how many of you guys are creators or quote unquote influencers that watch these type of videos, but just a few things that I wanted to talk about. Right now, there's so much accessibility coming from other platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels. It just seems like it's a lot easier now more than ever in order to build a bit of traction and get that audience. Like short form content wasn't really around to the degree that we've been seeing it until most recent months. Now, if you're already consistent as an influencer, that means you're already posting. I think right there, that's like 80 to 90% of the struggle that most people have. I know a lot of people that come up to me in person and they're like, yo, Brian, you know, how do you get successful on YouTube? Like, how do I build an audience? And how do I even get like a couple thousand subscribers? Most people can't even start. They run into a lot of paralysis. They think this needs to be perfect. The studio needs to be perfect. Like your audio's gotta be so crispy. I've fallen in there. You know, I thought about that too. I thought my video quality always had to be number one, bang in, but you got to realize like things will never be perfect. You're always going to run into the issue where things are never ever really perfect. They'll just get close to it. All right, look, man, my biggest tip to you is to just relate, connect with your audience, be personable, share, help, educate, entertain. Pretty much like the basis of being a quote unquote influencer. Okay, I like this one. What are your thoughts on CrossFit? So I tried CrossFit once before and it was really, really hard. All right, so most of you guys know I grew up playing many sports. I started out playing football, then I moved over into rugby. This is because my football coach is my rugby coach. I was like, yo, I don't even know what the heck rugby is. When I started playing rugby, it was like the best choice I've ever made. Yeah, I messed up my shoulder really bad. I dislocated it. I had a partial tear in my Achilles. But other than that, and a few like light concussions, it was definitely something that built my character. And although physically it destroyed me, it built up a lot of mental resilience. It taught me a lot of the work ethic that I carry. It taught me leadership, discipline, the ups and the downs. It taught me having a good community and a lot of great life lessons. A little bit of a tangent, but this guy's asked me what I thought of CrossFit. I did CrossFit once before. It was really hard. I don't know if I would do it again. I do know that it could be a little tough on your joints. I think right now, as I've been getting a little bit older, I'm trying to do things where it reduces the amount of risk that I have on my body. So I used to be all about powerlifting and bodybuilding till I can't get any reps. I was all about playing tackle rugby as much as I could. Now I'm just trying to take it easy, trying to be healthy. My upper back's always tight. I'm always hunched over. So I'm trying to do things that are just better for my back health and my overall longevity. As long as you're able to get some type of exercise, even if you're just low brisk walking outside, I think that's good enough. Just try to get some type of movement in. Anyone who does CrossFit, I respect it. Very, very hard sport. Something I respect a lot. All right, another question. How would you make $1 million right now? Okay, so if I was trying to make $1 million, I mean, there's a lot of ways. Now, there's two ways that I would approach this. One is like the low key, the traditional business type of way, maybe something brick and mortar, maybe like a cleaning business and hiring people, but that still comes with its headaches. And I do think it's going to take a lot longer when you have more overhead in order to make that $1 million. I think the best choice in trying to make $1 million right now for anyone is to utilize online, internet, social media, anything that involves the internet. For me, there's a lot of newer markets, a lot of new niches where if you're able to educate someone, if you're able to get good and passionate about something, you can find yourself easily making a lot of money. If I were to be more specific, I would still utilize YouTube unless something happened to YouTube. But if that was the case, then I would move over onto TikTok and Instagram Reels. I would find a platform where I could be passionate about something, get good at something, and then be able to educate people on that certain topic. Now, with this YouTube channel, obviously it's been like credit cards and crypto. We've changed a lot of people's lives. I hope for the better too. That's usually my intention. But when it comes to making a lot of money, I know within a lot of the broader markets, like some sub niches, there's definitely roles to fill. So as an example, I'll give like a little good Easter egg away. I tend to use Notion for pretty much everything that I can. It comes with my planner, my agenda, my work trip, my notes, keeping a track of everything business related, invoices, sponsors, taxes, accounting, team members, hiring, scripting my videos, outlining, I mean, a lot. Anything related to the Discord Patreon, we always have like a Discord blueprint. If you're able to learn it for yourself, know exactly how to use it, but then teach someone the systems on this, that's money right there. A lot of people overcomplicate making money online too. They think like, you gotta be doing this, you gotta be selling that, you gotta be having the click funnels, or you gotta be drop shipping Amazon FBA. You can just keep it as simple as trying to provide someone value and then just having a paywall in front of it. If you don't know what a paywall is, it's just like gumdrop, whatever they call it. It's where you have to charge someone in order to have access to that information. So there's that. I would definitely be utilizing newsletters more. I say this out loud right now, and it's things that I know I should be doing too, but I'm not doing. But even email newsletters, I know how powerful they can be just because a lot of my friends do them. They're making good money. You can always find affiliate commissions. So if you have a newsletter, what you've done right there is garner an audience, put your audience on your own platform, and then you're able to refer them or showcase them. Exactly what I've told you with Mint Mobile, you could refer people, get like $35 per referral. And then they have like these little sign up bonuses. If you refer 5 people, you get like $100 or something. When it comes to making a lot of money, I don't see value in trading hours for time. This is why one thing I used to do a long time ago when I first started my YouTube channel was do these calls. So I hated doing these calls. And I remember I charged, I think it was maybe like $100 for like a 1-hour call or something. Even at that time, I really don't think it was worth my mental energy doing that. But I remember I did it with 4 people. And during those times, I found a lot of value in connecting with them, just like talking to them, seeing like a subscriber's face. And this is when I had, I think like less than 10,000 subscribers. Even with that, I'd cut it because I saw that it was hard to scale that. It was a really good thing for me to like talk and interact one-on-one with people. But when it came to the fact that I wanted to scale my brand, in me trading my hour for money right there, there was not high ROI. I could only do that so much. Yes, I would be making way more money than I did if I was working like my old job. But at the same time, I always told myself like, you know, the energy in this 1 hour, if I made any YouTube video that got 1,000 views compared to like this one person right here, that one person is going to feel special and they're going to remember this call forever. I'm going to do everything I can to provide them value no matter what. But, you know, I realized like, yo, there's got to be a better way to do this. So use the internet to scale. I think that's probably one of the best ways that you can continue to generate wealth. And right now, a lot of people neglect that. People still go into like the old school ways of making money. There are a lot of new different pathways, and I hope right now that you guys can take advantage of it. Even through this recession, just know that the opportunities are here. The blueprint is all available. Everything that I learned came from the internet. Everything I learned came from books that cost maybe around 20 bucks. Some of them are sometimes less than that. Sometimes you can get free books, you can get audio books. I really think right now there's no excuse for anyone who wants to create wealth or to be able to come out of being in like a financially tough state. You can literally just like look it up, just start somewhere, look it up, and then take action. It's okay if you make mistakes. One of the biggest tips that I mention a lot is don't strive to be perfect and to win every single time. Strive to make those mistakes, strive to take those L's, because every time you do, yeah, you could lose some money. Yeah, you could be wasting your time, whichever way you want to see it, but that is a learning lesson right there. One of my first businesses that I started, I started a lot of them. I had Amazon FBA stores. I had drop shipping stores that turned private label. Even the drop shipping store, although I was just barely able to break even after reinvesting into the business, buying all that inventory, running all those Facebook ads, I learned so much from there, where you consider how much people are spending on a college education for 4 years and realize, look, even if you're in the hole of like $5,000 to $10,000, it might seem like a lot, but compared to how much people in the real world spend on an education, that's nothing for the amount of lessons that you can learn and the potential ROI, if it does work out, on how much money you can make. So on that, I could go on forever about making money online. A lot of good books. Start with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That is what really inspired me. I remember reading pages of that book. I still have like my little sticky notes and stuff on it. I was so just like on fire and so excited, so motivated every time I opened it that I would literally like have to hold myself back from reading too many pages because I would want to read a few and then try to digest it, understand it, reread it the next day, and then keep moving forward. There's only been a few books like that has done that to me. Think and Grow Rich is a little too out there for you. Go ahead and check out Wealthy Gardener. That's another book that I really enjoyed reading at the time just because they use story, symbolism, and it's not like the Power of Now or one of those bigger, thicker boys where it's just a little bit harder to read, especially if you're not used to the self-improvement books. The most recent book that I read, which was good, is called Time Off, and he used points from like Deep Work with Cal Newport. These are all like the new modern day self-improvement books. So this is a newer one, but man, it's a practical guide to building a rest ethic and finding success without the stress. And something I struggled a lot with my first few years of entrepreneurship is working myself out until like literally my health was declining. I was not eating. I was always lightheaded. I was always seeing black stars when I was like standing up, going to the gym. It was tough, but I always still got it done. And at some point, I remember it was just catching up to me. I remember one day, like I'm not someone who really feels like panic attacks or anxiety. I see it in movies and I'm like, wow, that's like, I feel terrible for those person. When I was starting entrepreneurship, when it got really, really hard, there were moments where I woke up and it was like, and I like felt like I felt very claustrophobic. I couldn't breathe. I was like, dang, this is terrible. I remember one of those days too. It's like, as soon as I woke up, back when I was doing my drop shipping, private label business, Amazon FBA, all that, trying to start a YouTuber, wanting to be a YouTuber. Geez, it's like, you see no income, but you know that you have like 15 things to do. You got to answer customer support tickets. And this is like right before I realized I could hire people. And this is when virtual assistants started to hit the forefront of YouTube and entrepreneurship. I know that maybe if I let off the gas a little bit, yeah, I could have had less eye bags, but I may not have made it to where I am. It's a question I just don't know. I don't want to say it's okay to sacrifice your health, but just make sure if you are determined, if you are consistent on your goal, it's going to work out. It's going to be okay. And for anyone who doesn't know my story, I didn't grow up with much money at all. I struggled a lot with my family in the beginning. I was always loaning my mom money. She would always pay me back, but there are times where, I only had like $2,000 in my bank account. I would have to loan out money to my mom and I would feel terrible if I had to say no. I'm not in that situation, luckily enough, because of the businesses I've built, YouTube, the community, everything. I've been able to even help pay my parents' mortgage still. If you don't know much about me, I did a CNBC Money Make It episode. In there, you get a little bit of a detailed version of just a little bit more about my story. But I even had some comments where people are like, yo, like, Brian, you're doing so well. You got this and that. How come your parents are still working? It's like, if you know anything about immigrant parents, I don't know if it's immigrants in general or if it's a Korean thing, but my parents refuse to not work. In all the Korean dramas, there's always like dementia. Dementia is like a very popular disease that is just, within like, I don't know, TV media culture. My parents are also afraid that especially my mom, she thinks she'll get dementia or like some mental like deterioration if she stops working, she stopped being active. So I've always told myself I just want to see them work less, but then they refuse to do that, especially after all that I've built. In me stressing about how much work I have to do, like I got to come out with the market update today. If I don't do that, I'm gonna be crying and people are gonna start forgetting about me, and then all this is gonna fall apart. And if like one of my parents gets sick or I get sick and then like I don't have income, like, you start going into that hole. It's been normal. Like I know how to work through it. And I'm sure all of you guys have been there too. And if you haven't, that's a really good, you got a skill, you got like a magical skill. I hope you can teach other people to do the same. But generally, most people will think negativity. They'll think doubts. They'll think all these thoughts that aren't good for them. Just accept it. Accept the good and the bad and still move forward. I realize now this year, it's not about the grind. I used to look at other YouTube channels and be like, wow, so-and-so is posting 6 times a day. Wow, so-and-so has got 3 or 4 different YouTube channels and they're scaling and they got this and that. The grass is always greener on the other side. I have friends who do that. I also have friends who are making $4 or $5 million a year and they work probably 20, 30 minutes a day right now because of the internet. But the grass is always greener on the other side. And when you always look at how full someone else's pot is, you're gonna bring a lot less happiness to yourself. If you're watching this video right now, something I used to always do during the beginning days of my grind grind and the entrepreneurial journey is to really take gratitude and to be present in everything that I had. I had a healthy family. I have a mom and a dad. In the past few years, some of my friends, like some of my closest friends, their parents have passed away, and it hurts so much seeing that for me and realizing it's not all about the money. It's not all about how many subscribers you can get. It's about relationships. It's about health. It's about the things that you can do for people who may not be better off than you. I've always wanted the dream car. I've always wanted like $100,000 in my bank account, nothing less than that. Those things are nice. Don't get me wrong. The nice cars, I love cars. I love driving when I can, but you just have to realize that there is definitely a lot more to this world. And if you are so focused on worldly, materialistic things, you're gonna realize you live like a very just like unfulfilled life. I changed up who I spend the most amount of time with now, how I prioritize my health, what I do in a day. Although the grind has been good, although there's been like some insane moments, like even the day where you make your first $100 online, that I still remember that. And I still remember the first day I made $1,000 online. And then I also remember the first day I made like $200,000+ in a day too. But you got to realize like a little bit after that, like 24 hours after that, the feeling kind of subsides. And if I had done it all alone, if I didn't have the support group that I have, my close friends, my girlfriend right now, my parents, my family, if I did all of that and I was by myself, I would be the most miserable person on this earth, I think. And like one of the things that I'm most grateful for right now is my team, is my circle, is my family. It's those relationships. It's my friends that I've kept close. So I just hope you guys can take something out of this. It's a Brian Jung word vomit day. And these things I always think about, but I never really talk about it too much. So hopefully maybe something resonates with you guys. And please trust me on this. Like I see Instagram flexers. I see people who are so just the shiny object. They're just so crazy about it. And at this point, I just cringe. I cringe when I see that. I cringe when people are just obsessed with like designer goods and just chasing all these things. I don't know how the heck we got to that question. Anyways. Okay, so I got another good question. Do you invest in physical assets, art, collectibles, trading cards, comics, etc.? Okay, so I do have some physical assets. You guys can even like see in the back of my studio. I've never done like a full video explaining what some of these items are. Shout out to like Sebi, Mandy. They gave me the little bear thing up there. That's actually like a piece of art. Some people have asked what that Sanzo thing is. This is like a company that I angel invested into. It's like an Asian inspired sparkling water company. These are more like collectible toys, like the super plastic right here. It's like physical stuff. Now for me, it's like, I don't know exactly how liquid some of these items are, where it's like art, it could be worth $17 million for that one piece, but is it really that easy to find a buyer? What are the circumstances of that? That's one of the reasons why I really like crypto and stocks, just because if I want to sell it tomorrow, I can. When it comes to other investments that I have, I was getting into comics, but I chose to opt out of that. I remember I had like some serious alpha. One of my viewers that was watching these videos, he was like a comic book guy, an investor forever, and he lived near the Potomac area. And I still remember these emails because he was like trying to go out for a drive together and like catch up. And it was during the pandemic. So I think back then I was just like, I'd rather work during these times. It wasn't even like the pandemic I was worried about itself. It was just during that time I was so busy on YouTube where I was trying to grow and I had no social life at all. But I remember even he was telling me like, dude, the market is blowing up. And then there's other things too, like watches is something I really, really enjoy. Yeah, but when it comes to like trading cards like Pokemon, I've seen the hype on that too. I personally like having more liquid investments, but I'm pretty well diversified right now. As most of my like loyal subscribers, the OGs know, I do have ownership in a restaurant here in Rockville. So for that, I literally cut myself a check. I do no work at all. Maybe I'll show up, eat some food, and then post it on my Instagram to help market it and like push it out just a bit more. But I do absolutely nothing. And I even use that to have meetups. I run into subscribers there all the time. It's just nice having an HQ like that. It's nice knowing all the waiters and saying what's up to the regulars there. And also, it's literally paying me out money every single month. It's cash flowing. So when it comes to diversification, I'm always looking to invest into businesses. I'm now very selective about it though, just because of the state of the market we're in right now. And things are not as bullish as it was in terms of the broader market, which affects also my net worth. I like angel investments. I've slowed down a bit more on that, but I think in total it's like 15 plus angels that I've done. And then, we have crypto, we have stocks, we have NFTs. NFT is my favorite, the one that I've had the most amount of fun in. I always consider my watches an investment. I've never sold one, so I just don't know how liquid it truly is. But when I see the value of it on Chrono, it does give me a good feeling because I'm very, very net positive on those investments. Even with cars, I know this is more relative. Cars were going up in value. So if I bought it maybe 3-4 years ago and then, sold it during the pandemic, it would have been considered an investment just because it went up in value. But now even with my cars, just because I'm like obsessed with a lot of the cars, a lot of luxury cars, I look at the value, I follow all of it. I met the Straight Pipes when I was in Vegas. I was fanboying like crazy when I met them because I used to watch all their videos and I still do. I think of it as like a very low yield savings account. So I'm putting my money in there, but I know if that car is able to retain its value, if anything, if it goes up and offsets the interest that I'm paying to the financiers, I see it as a savings account right there. If I liquidate it, get my money back, then I have all this cash all at once right now. So even during these times, I think of my investments a little bit differently. It's very relative. Not many people are gonna be like, yo, Brian, you're crazy for calling a car a savings account. With the way that I treat my finances and the assets that I look for, in essence, at least within my portfolio, that's how it works. I like this question. If you could post any content besides finance, what content would you make? I would not mind being a gamer. So I've been running it up on the Warzone sticks lately. I've been getting kind of decent, like learning the bunny hops and just winning some gunfights on there. Over 11 years ago, I had my Call of Duty gaming channel. And on that, my parents actually got me the Wii back then. I wanted the Xbox so bad, but I think it was like a little bit outside of their budget. So I was playing on the freaking Wii. But when you play on the Wii and you use a controller, you have an advantage because most people are using the nunchucks and the little thumb thing. So I remember I was just like tearing people up. It got me to start making content. And my family had bought a DSLR for our family trips. And it was a old Canon Rebel TI something. I would put the camera in front of me, like this Shure mic is in front of me right now. I would put the controller in front of my face and the camera would be right here. So the camera would record the screen and I would blast the TV up on the remote so the audio would come through the camera because I didn't have a recorder. I don't even know what they used back then. So I'd just record the screen and I would play with the sticks like this in between the tripod. I was uploading content over there on YouTube. That was fun to me back then, the gaming content, but I do remember how stressful it was. And then also one of my good friends that I grew up with in this area, he's a gamer on YouTube, and he tells me, the struggles of the gaming side as well. Every niche has its ups and downs, its disadvantages, its advantages. I do think that is really where a lot of people are. It's just, you have to be good at the game and it's very stimulating. So even in me just playing and doing comms, I know that if I have to worry about like a chat log and then the pressure of people watching and doing good, it starts building up. So I don't know. I do it as a hobby. I've thought about starting a Twitch channel where if I'm gaming and I see like some finance credit questions, it would be cool. I don't think there's any YouTubers in the finance world doing like a Twitch gaming thing either. It's just, you can't be booty hole at the game. You got to be decent so people are still entertained. And I think it's a good collaborative way to mix up the audiences. YouTube did invite me to their creators event. This is like a super exclusive event. I got full on imposter syndrome for this because I was like, why did they invite my goofy ass like to this thing over here? And it's going to be like some of the largest creators from what they're telling me. Apparently I got on the list just because they are really interested in crypto YouTubers. So I don't know how many other crypto YouTubers there will be, but I just know I got invited. I'm gonna go there for, I think it's 2 days, taking a flight all the way to LA just for that. There, I'm gonna be running into hopefully some other gaming YouTubers. I'll ask them what they think about the whole idea. Once my house gets built, because that's in the process of getting built, they just put the roof on it. In January, once I have like my full studio set up, I might make like a gaming section and we may bring that up. So if you guys would be interested or think that's a cool idea, definitely let me know down below in the comments. My theory is also that right now, a lot of Web3 games are getting developed. Gala Games had a huge catalog, really impressive games. If you guys want to make money, I'm telling you right now, invest your time into some of these Web3 games, because if one of them that you play a lot, that you get good at, that you have in-game economy, like high net worth with, you could be scoring big. So I do think the future may revolve back into Web3 games. And it's going to be a matter of a question of whether or not influencers, YouTubers will move over, play those games, garner a new audience there while still being able to make money, interact with their own community. I think that might be a pivot. I think that could be a possible future. All right, so next question. If YouTube were to suddenly vanish, what industry would you seek employment in? So if YouTube disappeared, I would still be within the creator space. I would just use a different platform. But say like social media, for some reason, it just didn't exist. It got wiped off. You know, I had a whole list of ideas. I wanted to open a gym. It's something I still kind of want to do. Open a gym. I wouldn't see it as a cash cow, but I do know how much my gyms are making in this area. I'm friends with one of the managers at the other gym, and he was giving me a breakdown of the numbers. It's insane. It's insane, the business model of how these gyms generate revenue. Believe it or not, it's not coming from like the $40 monthly fees. It's coming from personal trainer upsells and like the different packages. You know, some of the moms might sign up for the one-on-one fitness coaching. Whenever I get an idea of how the full blueprint of a business works, that's when my brain starts spinning the gears and it starts moving forward where I'm like, okay, I could see a viability in that. Whatever I do though, aside from the gym aspect, I would always be focusing right now on online development, like online ways to make money. Proudest investment. Ooh, that is a really, really good question. My proudest investment at the time was my NFT, my Bored Ape. I was even more proud when I had bought in it and it was literally like up 120K in unrealized gains. And I also have a Bored Ape that has a trait on it. It's got like a little cigarette. It's got like a yellow hat. It's got cool fur. It doesn't have eyeballs popping out of its head. Even with that going down a significant amount, you know, it doesn't make it any less proud. I do think the market on NFTs is going to go back up. I think it's going to take some time, but at the time, it definitely was my NFT. If it wasn't my Bored Ape, it would have been my Moonbird, just because I got in so early. I let everyone in my Discord know like a week before, like, yo, this is launching. I'm feeling bullish on this. Yo, guys, I'm buying in. Yo, guys, I'm buying like 2 of these now. Yo, guys, I just put an 80K into this. And then seeing that just like 5X, 10X within a span of a few days, I was feeling pretty proud there. But if we're not talking about digital investments, I really appreciate the restaurant that I invested into. For all the reasons I mentioned earlier, having something physical and viable. I remember taking my dad to like show him, and it might just be like the old Korean dad in him, but my dad looked like super proud. Like a lot of Korean immigrants deal with this where they just feel like less valued from your average person. They just feel like underneath a lot of people. That's how I felt growing up. And you know, when I saw the look in his eyes of the restaurant and like me being able to pour him a drink, it was like that's gonna live with me forever. All right, someone asked me Max Deadlift. Right now, I know for a fact I can pull 4 plates just because I can always pull 4 plates no matter how light I am. That's like the weird, cool thing about the mechanics of my body from just powerlifting way earlier on, like through high school and then into college, because I used to lift all the time. My max deadlift was when I was a little chunkier. It was 5 plates. I just don't remember if I added like 5 or 10 more plates to it, but it was 5 plates at the time. So that's $495. I think my ego got me though, and I was like, yo, let me just get 500. We'll say $495 to be conservative though. Someone asked me, what do you mainly do now for a living? That's a really good question. I spend time with family. I try to put as much value as I can on YouTube. I'm trying to expand my creator base. And if you guys didn't know, I actually have a team now. So my team had grown a lot. Now it's like one of my really good friends that I played rugby with from high school. It's Javier, my editor who edits these videos, Ben. He lives in Canada. And I have like a really cool story about just like how this all works. And then I have one virtual assistant, Monique, and she is like the best, so smart, so amazing. And that is my team right there. It's like Ben, Javi, Monique. We just keep it real tight. You know, Javi came with me to the Miami trip, but I also grew up with him in the Maryland area. And when I talked about starting one of those Amazon FBA companies, it was actually alongside him. We started it together. So Javi used to work at Wells Fargo. I don't know how much, he's like a private person. I don't know how, but he used to work at Wells Fargo and he hated that job. He hated the corporate life. He was like, they used to treat me like a dog there. He had wanted to, you know, go back into entrepreneurship. And initially, guys, in the beginning, I could not hire anyone, not because I couldn't afford to, or, I just didn't want to. Like, I did not want anyone to do anything else. So this is where I could only put out like 2 videos, 3 videos a week, and I would be gassed out because at that time, I would still think of the video, outline it, research it, thumbnail, make my own thumbnail using Photoshop and Canva. Then I would go ahead and edit the video on Final Cut Pro. Then I would publish it, repeat that cycle alongside sponsors, affiliates, business. Like I was working like 12 to 14 hours a day. I got 3 white hairs on the side of my head here from that time. I'm never ripping these out. I keep them in here as a reminder. Anyways, during October, November, Javi reached out and he was like, yo, Brian, like, I know you don't want anyone working for you, but here, I put together like this research report on one of your videos. It was like one of my top 5 altcoins. And he gave me like a statistic of how well those altcoins did, like broke it down, like wrote like 3-page research papers. And he was like, dude, whatever it is you need, like, although I'm not a creator, although I don't really know much about this space, although I'm new to crypto, I will learn and I'm gonna just help you grow. And he's like, you don't pay me for the first like 3 months or whatever. I'm gonna just work for you. Immediately off the bat, like after like a week, I think less than that, I was like, nah, Javi, like I gotta pay you. Cause he was coming over to my apartment. It was like the crazy time during the first crypto bull run. He was like, let me help you like manage the Patreon. I know your hands are busy. Let me help you like get finances in order. Let me help you organize like the production side. Let me help you hire an assistant. You need someone to help you catch these emails. So that right there was like the first time I've hired someone in the first like 3 to 4 years of this whole YouTube thing that I've started. And that was just because he was so persistent, so good at reaching out. And because we played rugby together, this is someone who, Javi was like insane guys at rugby. Like I've played, a lot of my friends right now that I've played with are all pro. They're playing for the US major league teams, like almost all of them. Like right now, my team that I play sevens with, they are competing for the national championship right now for the US. We played all-stars, which are like the best players of the state that you play against. Different states like Utah, like South Carolina, Ohio. This guy was good. This guy, no one could tackle him in high school. It was hilarious. He would give him the ball, like 4 people couldn't put him down. Javi's like one of my main guys that works for me right now. And then I have Ben, who's crushing it too with the edits, who's been helping me out there. Editing was my least favorite task when it came to YouTube, but it was the hardest for me to outsource. So I remember earlier on, if you guys ever watched this video on YouTube, it's not up anymore for whatever reason, but I went to Canada. I went to Calgary with Lost LeBlanc and Nate O'Brien, and we competed for some money there in completing these challenges like the Amazing Race. And it turns out that Ben, who's actually watching this video now, throwing a high edit, Ben. He happened to be staying like 10 minutes away from the Airbnb that we were staying at when I was there. So Ben had initially emailed me a long time ago, just as a viewer of the channel. It's like, hey, like I do some video edits on the side. I work a job here. I gave him a shot at one of my videos and it was amazing. But at that time, I didn't have enough good systems in place where I wasn't consistent on YouTube, where he could come full time with me. There was a time when Ben actually did decide, he quit his job where he was not making the best money there. I told Ben, I'll pay you double or triple. I was like, you know, whatever it is, I'm paying you double or triple, whatever they're paying you right now to come work for me and to allow, you know, you make your videos, you help me edit this. It'll expand your creative freedom. We'll go on these like fun trips. We did the Bitcoin conference. We went to New York together. It's been great. But I remember even the first few weeks when I had hired Ben, Ben, you remember this, man. We freaking, I had no work for you. So what's incredible right now about the size of my team is that when I didn't have content to film just because so many other things were happening behind the scenes with the business. Ben went ahead and found work. He was like, yo, I know I'm here to edit, but yo, like if you need help with this, I'm gonna fill in this gap. Let me help you outline some ideas. Let me go through the YouTube analytics, come out with a research report. Now my team is insane. My assistant Monique, probably one of the most smartest, hardworking people I know that I've never met in person. Javi and Ben I have, but Monique has been virtual, and luckily enough, she's just been a gem for us. She's like a newly married girl with her husband in the Philippines. And it just blows my mind how smart she is and how quick she is to pick things up. So I would use things like Loom to record certain tasks. Like, hey, Monique, I've been doing this for a couple years. I'll understand if you can't pick it up really quick, but you know, I would send the Loom like the screen recording video on how to do something, and she would just like immediately do it. And then she'd be responding to email campaigns, like managing some of these like tens of thousands of dollar deals, like so professionally. Like her English, there's no barrier. It's like better than my English. I'm like, yo, what's going on here? I got into a major tangent. But for anyone who's wondering just like how my team operates, what I mainly do for a living, I have a team now. So my team helps me a lot in being able to stay up to date. I've never been so consistent on YouTube. If you guys ever go back on my channel, I've taken a full month off before from burning out after doing like a full week's worth of videos, doing live streams, doing 2 weeks of consistent uploads. Then I always get burnt out. But now it's been so good just having a team. Yeah, payroll's adding up, you know, payroll adds up. It's a bill that I have, but I realized in the beginning too, like I was thinking like, yo, I got to get an office in Maryland. I got to expand. I got to have like a full team. I wanted to feed a lot of families. I wanted to have those like cool creative meetings that like I see other creators doing within the e-com space. I'm like, that's so cool. I want to have a team in person. No. I do not want to scale anymore. I don't need my logo on the front of a building. I thought that's what I wanted. I really like a smaller team. If one of them needs to take some time off, we work our way around it. I'm going to be in Korea for a really long time, for a month actually. And I'm going to find ways for our team to balance that out. So it's been good. And most importantly, like we're all really hardworking. Growing up from sports, I always believe this. Whoever on your team is the weakest person, that's going to be what do they call it? Like the weakest link in the chain. It's true. So that's why like I even had more people. I had 2 other people that came into my office, and I will invest into someone that I trust the most, that I know can get the job done, that has good integrity, that is someone that is just honorable. And I will invest into that person. I will build them up and I'll stick with them for a long time. That is just my direction, because the amount that we've scaled, I could have had like 50 people, like all designated for their jobs. But I find a lot of fulfillment in being able to grow with someone who has been with me since the beginning too. And that's how my YouTube channel operates. There are other ones where they have like 100-man team and you kind of lose sight of what you need to do. Having like a 3 to 4-man team is a really good balance. And if you have the right people that love what they're doing, it's amazing. This is a long video, so I'm gonna do a few more questions. And if you guys like videos like this, drop a like down below. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram. How long did it take you to achieve your 100K goal? So I have a picture of a bank account, not my bank account, but I have a picture of a bank account from 2017 that I got off Google. I typed in $100,000 bank account. I printed off the image of it and I taped it on my bed. So every morning I woke up, I looked at it and I was trying to manifest that. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but if you guys do a quick search on YouTube, let me do it real quick. Yeah, I have a video here, how I made my first 100K at 20 years old. So it was 2 years ago that I was able to do it. And I remember like tracking my net worth on the Charles Schwab app. That's what I was using. And I could see like every YouTube pay stub I had, it was like bloop. And then it would like go down after my rent and my expenses, my Toyota Tacoma truck payment. But it was like bloop. And it was like bloop. I think it took since I taped it on my wall, I think it took like 2-3 years because I had to pay off my credit card debt. I was reinvesting back into like camera equipment and then like deciding on how much money I wanted to put in stocks. It happened a lot quicker than I thought. Should I still do leg day if my legs aren't all that bad? Random gym question. Look, during the summertime where I'm like running, doing Stairmaster, playing basketball and doing a lot of like eccentric leg movement, I actually purposely don't work out my legs. I definitely don't do body like using weights, but I will do body weights where I'm like working on stabilization, like doing pistol squats or trying to do variations of that, or some of the lunges in the air. If you're not that active, you should always be hitting legs, even if your legs are like whatever, like medium size. Legs are the biggest muscle group, and people work out not just to build muscle and to look good, but it's also because whenever you work out, your muscles, they release like HGH, a little bit of that, some testosterone, whatever gender you may be. I would hit legs, even if your legs are like mad swole, you can at least maintain them. Biggest advice for 20-year-olds out there that would want to become millionaires. I think when it comes to making a lot of money, the common theme that I've seen is mindset. Whether you're a scammer or you're like the most honest person within the internet, a lot of them still have the same mindsets or habits that have allowed them to be that millionaire. Just have the right formula, have the right habits and routines in your life. And for me, like you can get caught up in meditating. I've done everything. Cold showers, meditating, sauna, and I do enjoy it. I love when the mind is like really just peaceful. You're not like, you don't have 1,000 thoughts going through your head. Even focusing on doing one thing that you need to accomplish in a day, I think that's like the biggest needle mover. And something I recently read from that book, Time Off, that really stuck with me. Actually, I don't know if it's from that book. Maybe it was from a podcast. Whenever you're doing work and you're just feeling a little bit of resistance, like you know that you got to make that video or you got to fill out that script, you got to do that research, or I know a lot of people struggle with this because I still do too. It's like looking at the bank account and feeling a little bit of fear, just like seeing like how much credit card debt you're going to have or like how much is going to deduct from your checking account. Whenever you feel that resistance, just know that on the other side of it, it's like a breakthrough. It's like flow state. It's good stuff. I almost want you guys to have that mindset of being excited for resistance. Be excited for things that you don't want to do. If you don't want to go out and work out, just know on the other side of that, it's really something that is good for you. For me, it's like scripting a 2 to 3 hour credit card guide video and like refreshing all the knowledge that I had in my brain that is getting rusty in here just because I'm all crypto right now. And it's like, I can only focus on so many things at once. That credit card video, I was like, I kept pushing it off. Like I've pushed it off for many, many weeks, but I was like, just recently, like, yo, on the other side of this, if I can just sit down and record it, if I can just outline and script this video, I know on the other side, I will be able to finish this. I'll be able to put it out. I'll be able to help other people out there. That has been proven out so far pretty well. Every time I was really resistant before in the past, even like working on my dropshipping business, I would do smaller tasks to kind of like procrastinate. Like I would email, like check stocks. It's like, that's not moving really the needle at all. Do the thing that's hard, do it once, get over it. That is where I think success really lies. It's just an open door. A lot of people can't push it. Ooh, I like this question. What are some tips on finding your passion? When it comes to finding your passion, this is, I would say, even before you're trying to be a millionaire, even before you want to do anything, you need to find your passion, because say you want to get into work and say you figure out what that is. Your passion is going to be what drives you to figure out what you want to like pursue in terms of your career, but it's also where you can figure out how you take your breaks, how you can get away from the stress, because the stress will build up. If being a millionaire or, finding success within just your financial portfolio was easy, no one would be poor out here. Everyone would be just, the harder you work, the more sweat you pour out, the richer you get. If that was the formula, everyone here would be fine. We'd be living in like this crazy utopia. Making money is hard. Being a millionaire is not an easy feat at all. So before people even try to like pursue that, figure out what you're passionate about, figure out what gets you excited. And it could be as simple things as like just going for a walk. I know for me, it's fishing, it's going to the gym, it's playing basketball, it's playing rugby, it's playing games with my friends, it's reading a book. There are many activities that I figured out where I am able to set it up on a certain weekend. It's like I'm feeling kind of stressed, but I'm not feeling burnt out. I'm just feeling a little stressed. I can take this type of trip. I can go to this nicer hotel where it's a little bit more relaxing and my favorite restaurants are there. You start figuring out what you're passionate about by doing things. You have to first go out. You have to try things. You have to know what it is you like, what you don't like. I always thought, I don't know, let's use the amusement park as an example. Growing up as a kid, it was exciting to me. I loved taking roller coasters. I know pretty recently, I think like I don't really enjoy, I don't like I don't like waiting in lines and sweating. Like I love fishing. I love going out. I love going for drives, maybe something I didn't really love much before. Figure that out. If you really like it, you can find a way to monetize it. There's some pros and cons to that. Like I tried monetizing my fishing passion, but it made me hate fishing even more. And I realized this is not the direction I want to go. But there are always things that you can learn. I never knew like I would love being like a creator. I never knew I would love researching topics, talking about credit cards at one point, or even crypto. I never knew that, but I only figured that out once I decided to give it a shot. Before you try to make your first $1 million, figure out what you're passionate about so you can use it as a stress reliever. You can use it as a way that you can pursue your career. I think the saddest thing is for someone to live their life and not know what brings them passion and not know what brings them happiness or fulfillment, because this life is indeed short. It really is, guys. And if you're able to figure out what you like doing and you do it, you build up towards it. Maybe it's even self-improvement or like seeing little gains at the gym or cooking. Figure those things out, double down on it, set a time up for it in your schedule. So favorite YouTube video that I've ever made. So if I really had to choose, it's definitely me helping my mom out and like paying off her credit card debt. That was just like such a hard time. That 10K was still like a lot of money to me at that time, because I think I invested a lot. And I think that was like literally, I think I only had maybe like $20,000 in that checking account. So that was literally like half of my checking account while everything else was invested. That money was not just like $10 to me or something at the time. It was a substantial amount. But in me being able to do that for my family was like one of my proudest moments. And it was like off the whim. I didn't even think I was going to record. I was like in bed and I was like, you know what? I'll just get my camera. Like, why not just film this? After like I found a song like from Music Bed and I put it on the video, I was like, yo, this is actually like kind of like deep. That's why it's like, if you go on my YouTube page, that is the first video that comes up. I'm so proud of that moment in my life, more than me hitting 1 million subs, more than me doing this or going to Miami, like getting lit with my friends. Nah, it's like being able to do that. In terms of other videos, I don't really have a favorite video. I always think they're never perfect. Like I have no video that I'm like, so like, oh, this is the absolute best. They're all just like, okay. I think hopefully as a creator, one of my goals is to get a video that I'm so so happy about. That is my favorite. That's one of my new goals. Thoughts on being a social media influencer, Instagram and TikTok versus YouTube. Look, I got a lot of friends that are mainly like Instagram or TikTok influencers versus YouTube. Even now, YouTube, you can get 1 million subs by having the right shorts, and the formula for it, I don't think it's that hard. So to catch you guys up on this, there's like a little stigma. If you're a TikToker, it's a little bit more like not as cool as if you were like a full-blown YouTuber, and like vice versa. Some people say like TikTok is a bit harder. Actually, I don't know how many people say that, but I don't discriminate because I got friends on both sides and I'm never trying to stir up the tea. If you're able to build a following and impact people, it doesn't matter what platform you're on, it's still equal. I think when it comes to monetizing, YouTube is definitely a lot easier. Long form content, building an audience there, I think it goes a bit more of a way than short form content on some of the other platforms, just because the attention on it is so short. But if I were to have a choice, it's like, would you have 1 million subs on YouTube or 1 million followers on TikTok? 100% every single time on YouTube, without a doubt. Okay, how's the RS7 and was that your dream car? I've gone through like this weird obsession with sportbacks. So I love the Mercedes like GLE Sportback. I love the X6M series, the SUV with the bubble butt. Some people hate it, but I loved it. And those sportbacks we initially first saw on a lot of these newer vehicles. So it started with the Audi S5 Sportback. That was, I thought, like one of the most beautiful cars. People just didn't like the 4 doors. If you're like a huge car guy, it's like, you got to go 2 doors. But I was like, yo, no, like I like the trunk space. I like my passengers being able to have their own door. One of the first cars that I really wanted to get was a Kia Stinger GT. It was like the most slept on car during like the 2015, 17 era. I just remember it was perfect. The one in the gray color, like the chalk Nardo gray. And then you take out the Kia badge because, you know, you got to keep that part on the low key. The RS7 has been one of the best, amazing cars I ever got. Now, when I got it, I did wish the exhaust was a little louder, so that's why I've done so many upgrades to it. I have a stage 2 RS7 Audi, but keep in mind, it actually weighs more than 6,000 pounds, so it qualifies too for the gross vehicle weight. It qualifies for that IRS deduction. It's, I think 179, the numbers could be messed up, but it's where it's like weighs more than 6,000 pounds. So on a car like that, a sedan, it allows you to get some tax deductions. Some of my favorite aspects, I can talk forever about it. I named the RS7 Greta after Greta Thunberg. Is that our name? Anyways, I named it after her just because of how economically friendly the car is, especially if you guys ever hear how loud it is, especially with my downpipes now. I can drive my parents around comfortably. I didn't want to get a 2-door sports car just because whenever I hang out with my parents, like my mom and my dad, you know, and I'm not going to have my mom, like, imagine if my mom was like sitting in the front of the Lambo or something. Like, you know, I want my parents to feel good. That's why I like the S-Class as well. But I got the RS7 after looking at the R8. I looked at the GTR by Mercedes-Benz. I thought that is like the Batmobile. That is the just most amazing, beautiful, well-made European cars. But the RS7, it was everything just because it was a 4-door monster where if I turn on the RS mode on that, the exhaust opens up. It is just a crazy, crazy car. But if I put it in comfort mode, the suspension raises up, the exhaust goes quiet. So it's literally having 2 vehicles by paying for one price. I have a monster rocket ship anytime I want to smoke anyone, but then I also have like a comfortable car that I can take anyone's grandma in for like a nice ride around the neighborhood without disturbing anyone. I really like the newer gen. I don't like the older one. I don't like the shapes of the older one. The new gen has been the way to go. And then for that car, I have a titanium Agrapovic exhaust. I have downpipes on there. I have an ECU tune on it. I have the Max Deadlift front and back and side skirt body kit. Oh yeah, and then I have a Venturi cold air intake, which is ridiculously expensive. I will say with the R7, the titanium exhaust was completely unnecessary. I could have just done downpipes and it would have sounded the way it did. The exhaust did like no change in the sound at all. It does add like supposedly 11 horsepower to it, but I don't notice any difference at all. I could have saved 11 grand. That was the worst purchase. If I ever make a video on YouTube, you guys don't need to watch it because that is my worst purchase. That is the summary of the video. It was buying that exhaust. And I remember I was split on it for like 2 months, but it was so quiet. I was like, I want this a little louder. Like I want to hear it when I put but hopefully, you know, if I ever sell it, it goes to someone who really cares about the car. I have no intention of selling it anytime soon, you know, unless the crypto market like crashes and I got to liquidate my assets, but I got that for now. When I had the S5, it always felt like I was missing something. So I'd wish I got the RS5 at that time, but the S5 was within my budget. All of the cars that I've ever bought have all been used. So other than my Toyota Tacoma, which which is brand new when I bought it, but went up and is still up in value. I bought it for like 32K. And then during the peak of the used car market, it was at 35K. I sold at 40K at one point. Now I think it's like 37K with a bunch of miles on it. Keep that in mind. And the ceramic gray, that colorway, like people love that, and the sand and the lunar rock. But when it comes to the RS7, yeah, it's just such an amazing car. Yeah, it retains value. There's not that many that you see around there. And previously, the RS7 was used. It came from Georgia. It's a 2021, but it had 5,000 miles on it. And even my Huracan, that was used, but I got like a really, really good deal on that. That was crazy because I was looking at the price of a Huracan way before even I bought the RS7. So I just love cars. I wanted to build up my fleet. I have my Tacoma, the RS7, the Huracan right now. And I do want a full-size truck. I really like the EV Hummer. That thing is nuts. 1,100 horsepower, 9,000 pounds, crab walk, suspension lift, just amazing. The next vehicle I get is just gonna be for utility. Like I wanna start fishing more. I wanna start spending more quality time with my family, my friends, and in me getting like a bass fishing boat, which I don't have. I don't even know the process of starting that. I know I need a bigger truck. I could use my Tacoma, but it's pushing it. I do want like a full-size comfortable truck one day. The Hummer EV, that's what I'm looking at right now, but we'll see. It's also my first electric car if I get that, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna end on this question here from my buddy Max Mayer. Check out his channel, really good content. I love Max. Believe it or not too, Max is ridiculously shredded, like an unhealthy amount shredded. This man had like an 8-pack. I was like, low-key, I was like, yo, that's crazy impressive, because you only see Max like top half, and I was like, wow, that you look good. All right, anyways, Max says, did you ever do any sneaky side hustles on your come up? He says a lot of people have one. Well, I know for you, Max actually has like a moving company. I forgot what state, maybe Phoenix or something. For me, sneaky side hustle, I remember back then, I don't know if it still works, but you could go to TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and I would go ahead and buy clothes there and see if I could list it on eBay for a higher price. Or if I'm like buying a shoe, that's how I justify. I'm like, okay, well, I'm buying these shoes. I don't really like it, but maybe it'll sell on eBay and I can make some money back. So I remember this one time, this is when I got kicked out of high school because I was being a naughty boy. I was getting in fights all the time. And the expulsion program that I went to had all these kids there that got kicked out of their school. So it's like this like little just like criminal mastermind of like rebellious kids. And one of the kids there, he was so into shoes. And he actually was one of the first people that got me into shoes. And he was like telling me to flip the old Jordan Concord lows. And he was like, yo, these are it right here. So I remember buying those, flipping those. I remember that inspired me to like try to flip items more on like eBay and stuff. And sometimes you can find bangers at TJ Maxx. There's one outside of my house. And since I grew up like broke as crap, I used to always go there to buy my clothes and just remembered like, hey, there's some really good stuff here. The way they're able to get a discount is like they're considered grade B items. Like sometimes the sizing's a little wonky or it just doesn't somehow like end up in their store. Sometimes it's completely perfect condition. They still just end up throwing it at TJ Maxx or Marshalls. But I remember there, like I could buy stuff, I could flip it, put it on eBay there. You know, if someone wanted a pair of shoes, I'll take a picture of it. I'd be like, yo, I just found your favorite pair of Jordans here. It's like $49.99. Hey, yo, how about this? I'll buy right now, but you know, just like throw me like a extra 10, 20 bone and we'll call it even. And they're getting already like a 50% discount. So that was a little fun thing back then. I remember when I'm a fishing like social media accounts and I was like a fishing influencer too. I was getting all this like free lures and stuff. I don't know if that's a side hustle as you would say, but other than that, you know, I drop shipping, I had the Amazon FBA stuff. Not too exciting on the life of Brian Jung there. Overall, guys, this is a long enough video. I don't think I've ever talked to the camera for this long. Thank you all so much again for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed any parts, like let me know down below, like what part of this video where you're like, that is the most interesting. Put a timestamp down below so other people can find it. If you guys want me to dive deeper into certain topics or talk about my passion for other things, let me know. Maybe I'll have like a fun little fishing and chatting with my people type video. I think that's another cool idea. If you guys did enjoy, like, subscribe, please shoot me a follow on social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. On top of that, if you guys made it till the end, you got to comment down below the word. That's going to be badoink. Comment down below that word down below. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, peace.